What's up, everybody? So, here in this shed, I have done a ton of product demos where I've lit things up and shown you, to the best of my ability, how they look through a camera. But so often when we're working on specifications, we're on manufacturers' websites. It's not the sexiest content in the world, but a website walkthrough can be a great way to sort of understand how to specify product day in and day out, right? So one of the manufacturers that's really revamped their website and their digital efforts is Litelab. Their website has been completely redesigned to make it much more user-friendly, and their cut sheets have been redesigned to make it much easier to specify product day in and day out. You know Litelab. If you've been part of this industry, you know that they're great at customs and modifications. They're a company that can work on long-term projects and really develop long-term solutions. But sometimes you just want to specify some bus and some track heads and move on. And so their website has been redesigned to really accommodate that day-to-day specification. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the new website, walk you through the new layout for the cut sheets, and then you'll see a little bit more about how Litelab has really developed a solution that I think is going to make it much easier to specify day in and day out. Check it out. So welcome to the Litelab website. You can see it's got a new modern aesthetic, really nice and clean. We jump into, right off the bat, some projects that Litelab has worked on. I think this is a great story. If you're not familiar with Litelab, or if you haven't really looked into them in a while, it's pretty amazing the caliber of work that they've done with a wide variety of clients, both in the museum world, retail, and institutional. But they've collaborated with designers to make some really amazing spaces, and it's worth taking a browse through these project pages. Then we've got some new product features. So what's cool about this is that not only does it show you the product, but also some of the projects that those have been used on. And then some other pieces on, they do some education pieces, blog posts, that kind of thing. But what I want to really drill into today is their product search. So as you go through this, you'll see that the broad categories for Litelab include surface fixtures, like track heads, right? Recessed fixtures, which include both their slot style fixtures and the lighting elements that go inside the slots. And they're so you can see the visual openings here and some of the way that they mount. And then if I keep going through here, you'll see also some of their small slot systems, their recessed multiples, recessed product. And then their last category is power distribution. So bus run being what they're most well known for, but also including, and all the variations of bus run, of which there are many. And then finishing up with something like their suspended bus, their flow bus, and then U-Track and some of their more traditional systems, as well as their bus port drop-down systems. So all of the ways that they distribute both power and, in this case, signal. So those are the three broad product categories. But what I think is a really useful tool for designers day in and day out is just being able to go through and filter. So this is very much in keeping with competitors' websites, but with such a breadth of product that's so technical, I think it makes a lot of sense for this from Litelab. So if I want a zoom optic, for instance, and I say apply, you'll see all right off the bat, you'll cut down all these fixtures down to what offers you a zoom optic. This might be enough, but if let's say I get out of the zoom optic and I go to object, which is essentially an accent light, and I can now go through and I see all of the different parts and pieces that do an accent light. But let's say I know I'm not going to do dim to warm. I only need static white. I can apply that filter, and that will draw me even further down the list. And now I start to see, okay, accent lighting in a C20, static white. Now I can look and I get to my 3200, 1600. Okay. So really nice, easy way to filter down to what you need from the fixture itself. Now, there's, of course, now if I clear these filters, and let's say I go back to my surface fixtures, and I only want really tiny guys. So it becomes another way to go through this. Let's say, for argument's sake, we're going to use this as an example. Once we get into our product page itself, you can see the specifications on a dim to warm fixture. So the basic specs are right there on this page. So if you know right off the bat you're not going to get enough lumens out of it, or there's some other issue looking at this page, you don't have to drill down any further. But if I jump into, for instance, the cut sheet, now you're going to start to see where I think some real improvements have been made by the folks at Litelab. So you maintain a picture of the fixture here, which is great. You get your basic 1,000 lumen engine, your various voltages available. Now this is going to show you a line drawing of the head itself, the basic parts and pieces, the zoom optic that's attached, the rotatable zoom, and then the accessory holders. What they've done is they've completely changed their nomenclature here to give you a workable part number without having to go through all of the different sort of machinations here. So you can fill in as much of this as you would like to fill in, and then you can get it to me as your rep, or you can get it out to Litelab, and we can walk through some of the options and things that you may or may not need or desire. So looking at this C27, the C2Z rather, this is a C2, this is zoom, L10 for that 1,000 lumens, 90 CRI, all standard product. Now you're going to look at this low range dim to warm, or the higher range dim to warm, that 3,000 or 2,700K. That's a selectable option. The various adapters. And then what they're trying to do here with this color coding is show you what happens when you go through a certain adapter range. So if I go to the 9TC, that's a bus run, a clipless bus run, or the 9TD or the 9TS, I'm here with ELV dimming with level, which is 5%. I can dim down to 5% on and then I have the option to add a potentiometer, rotation lock, switches, etc. Voltage options, and then your finishes. But if I go to a bus run with a driver box, or I go to a deep bus run or one of the U-track options, my dimming options will change, my level of dimming will change, and that's another a way to understand sort of what's going to happen as you go through this. So if I'm dimming to 0, dimming to 10%, that's all spelled out on the cut sheet. There are some notes here, and then there's some accessories. You can also go into those pages. The other thing I really like is that based on the bus run fitter you're choosing, you can you'll see a line drawing that shows that fitter and shows you all the parts and pieces associated with that fitter, and just the geometry of it and what you're gaining and losing based on the different. There is much more on the Litelab website. They've launched a blog, there's projects, there's stories about how they've developed product, and there's a lot more going on there than just what I showed in the walkthrough. So go to the Litelab website, check it out, and I think you'll be impressed. If these kinds of walkthroughs were helpful for you, if this is something you'd like to see more of, let me know in the comments, send me a message, get it out to me, because I would really love to know if this is the kind of stuff that you'd like to see more of, or if you want to see more product demos. Shoot me a message. I look forward to it. Thanks so much.